Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday featured member spotlight here at GCNKAA. Today we are here with Kevin Watkins, and we will get to him and let him introduce himself to everyone. He is with NAA, and we are so excited to have another NAA member here on our interview today. But just a few housekeeping items really quickly. First of all, congratulations. We just had our elections, and there is a newly elected board of directors and associate council. You can find everyone who was elected to those spots on our Facebook page, and it will likely be in the next newsletter as well. But it looks like a great group, and I am super proud of everyone that ran and was elected. So thank you all for participating in that. And one other really important thing is, as we've been talking about, the Holiday Cheers event is going virtual this year. On the same Facebook page, you saw Tanya and Jerry talking about that a few days ago, and that virtual platform is being launched today. Can you believe that? That means the holidays are upon us, which is insane, isn't even an appropriate word for what that means to all of us right now, I'm sure. But Michelle let me know that she is going to be sending out an email at some point today with all that information so we can log on to that virtual platform and check everything out. And on a personal note, I'm sure some of you may have noticed that I withdrew from the associate council elections. I have accepted another position outside of the industry. So this is going to be my last interview. I'm not going to get choked up, I think, maybe. Luckily, Kevin is a complete stranger to me, so that wouldn't be awkward. But without going into too much detail, you all know how to get a hold of me if you want to know my next endeavor, but I cannot get on here and have my last interview without showing my absolute and sincere gratitude to all of you in our association, in this industry. It's been 13 plus years that I've been in it in some form. I've worked on site. I've been a supplier for a couple different companies, and it really brought me to where I am today. Every tool I have in my toolbox is because of this industry. Most of my friends are now part of this industry, and it is bittersweet. I'm going on to an opportunity that I'm really, really excited about. It's kind of been a dream of mine. So I'm going out on a positive note, but it is definitely a bittersweet goodbye to so many of you that I've gotten to know over the years, and doing these interviews especially has just kind of become part of my my Friday routine when Melissa's not able to do it, and I'm gonna miss it. So like I said, most of you watching know how to get a hold of me. I don't want to lose touch. We'll still be available to hang out, and at some point in the future, I may dip my toes back in a consulting manner or in some form. But meanwhile, I wish the best of luck to all of you. I know you're wishing the same for me, and we'll get started with Kevin now. So Kevin Watkins, thank you for allowing me to have that time to bid my farewell. It's crazy, but here we are. I think if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's how to pivot and react appropriately in ways we never thought we could. So that's where I am. And I am really excited still to get to know you today. Kevin Watkins, tell us who you work for and your title and a little bit about that.
Sure. So first, congrats to you. That's exciting.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Watkins. I'm the Senior Vice President of membership at the National Apartment Association. So we're based in DC, of course. And so I am responsible for a few teams here. All of our affiliate relations programs, all of our big events, all of our programs, and then lastly, our Client Solutions Center. I've been with NAA actually twice. I worked here for about 3 years, left, and then came back, and I've been back for about 3 years now. So a total of 6 years, and just love working for NAA. It's a great company.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that so many of us, myself included, that are watching probably have so many questions about the inner workings of your job. Membership is just,
there are a bunch.
So pivotal in that organization. So if you wouldn't mind, what does a day look like for you, or a week? I know they're probably all
Yeah, they kind of blend together these days, right? And so, my job is very complex, since I do supervise such a broad area. I can start my day looking at customer service stats at our call center, to thinking about our big events, what we do with those as we pivot virtually, such as what we're doing with Apartmentalize in just 2 weeks, actually. And so, my week is very complex. I get to work with the affiliate network as well. NAA relies on the affiliate network to provide services to the rank and file member, and so it's fun working with the affiliate network and brainstorming with them on the best membership strategies, on the best engagement strategies, and also brainstorming on ways that we can just help them be better and they can help us be better in return. So the week is very, just fast paced, fun. There's always a new problem. It's 2020, so of course a new problem presents itself each day. And so, week is very just fast paced. I mean, the weeks go by so quickly now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, who's your favorite affiliate? I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow.
Had to do it.
This is being recorded.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you'd been with NAA twice, but how many years total have you been in this industry?
A total of 6, or I would say a total of 9 years actually. So prior to coming to work for NAA, I actually worked for a I guess a management company. We One of the divisions of the company that I work for, we held about 16,000 affordable units in Texas and also New Mexico. And then that short time that I left in AA, in between the time that I left and came back, actually worked for the realtor. So I would say, a total of about 9 years.
Wow. So I'm sure there are stories to tell over those 9 years.
There are.
That said, what advice would you give someone new just coming into the industry? I'm sure, especially being on the membership side, you get to touch a lot of different, facets of this industry. And there are so many different ways that people can get started, truly. I mean, you can pretty much have any college major and find your niche in the apartment industry. So what would your advice be to those
Amen.
students coming in?
One of the things that I just love about this industry is that it's all based off of relationships. When I talk to board members, when I talk to volunteers here at the national level, and as I talk to volunteers at the local and state level as well, everyone talks about the relationships that they've built throughout their career. And as most of you know, there's a lot of movement within this industry. And so, but regardless of that movement, regardless of people changing companies, whatever, the relationships are, they always stay intact. And that's been one of the things that I've just loved witnessing about this industry, that competitors at the end of the day, they all come together, talk about what's best for the industry, talk about what the best practices are, and they all just like have this personal affection for one another that is contagious and awesome. So my advice would be, as you enter this industry, be sure to focus on building those relationships, all around you, across, up, down, wherever, because I think that with all the movement and with all the opportunities within multifamily, those relationships can take you a very long way. I think you can learn a lot. You can learn different operating principles that companies have. So, be sure to just focus on those relationships, find that mentor, find that person that really, impresses you and that you can learn from, and they can also learn from you.
That's great advice. And what I really like that you said is, well, what I'll first say is that's really a common answer. And that's no offense. I think it's because it's like cliches are cliches.
It's true.
But the way you put it is a new way, just thinking about even competitors, because that element of it, maybe we don't talk about all the time, but it's so true. And, I'm just going to get personal today because it's my last one, but just, giving me the opportunity to say goodbye to my industry, and thinking about getting choked up about it, because over the years, I mean, some of my best friends have been my competitors, or, people that I would have never met outside of this industry. And I also love what you said about
Mhm.
mentors. I am huge on that. And I really think that I got to where I am because I specifically named uh, several mentors for myself. I could name three off the top of my head right now, and all of you out there watching definitely know who all three of them are. They're all women. No offense, but I just remember as soon as I met them, I knew, and they all represent a different part of this industry. Um, but gosh, is that a valuable relationship that I really agree with you? I would encourage people. That's something that it can be a little intimidating to seek that out. But I don't know that anyone hasn't ever been flattered by the request of being a mentor. And some of my mentors
Mhm.
don't even know they are. I'm just quietly watching and reaching out to them whenever I need something. And they just are so awesome that they're my mentors. So wonderful, wonderful advice. And I'm going to throw you for a loop because I do want to ask you a question that we didn't ask you. You can say pass and we can move on, but just when we have the opportunity to have someone from NAA on one of these interviews, I feel like we should at least know, coming from the national level, speaking particularly to the folks in Cincinnati, what's something that you want to tell us here in Cincinnati? It could be about the climate of the market or about the direction the industry is heading. Is there something that you can speak to nationally that you think we would really benefit from hearing here locally?
Absolutely. I would never pass on that. I think right now, with everything that's happening at the federal level and at the state level and at the local level, this is the best time to get involved with your apartment association at any of those levels. We need your voice. The folks in power, the folks that we elect, need to hear the importance of this industry, the important work that you all do, and they need to know how they can support this and how they can support this industry. I mean, it's a trying time, with folks not being able to pay rent on time, with all the norms being turned upside down. We need some stability, and so I think that you should get involved. You should ask your local apartment association, hey, who can I call? Who can I write? Who can I email? To let them know about the impact that this industry makes. Every March, NAA has an event called Advocate.
Mhm.
And this is our federal lobbying event that we do each year. And it's such an important event. And most people would say it's the most valuable NAA event,
Mhm.
even though it's not the largest. But it's the one that impacts change at the federal level. And so registration starts for that event in just a few weeks. There will be a virtual element to it.
Mhm.
And so if you've never attended, if you can't make it to DC, those are no reasons to not attend next year. You can sign up, you can participate from your office, from your home, wherever. But it's a chance for you to learn about the issues, for you to learn how you can impact change at the federal level, which is what we all need. The industry needs some stability.
Yes, absolutely. That is such poignant advice. And, I don't know how much you know about Cincinnati, but we have a really great presence. We have an amazing legislative
Mm-hmm.
committee. We show up for Advocate every year. So hopefully we will continue to do that. I think our representation there is incredible, given that we're just a small chunk in the Midwest. So, and the other thing why I think it's so awesome that you mentioned that is a facet of the industry that doesn't get talked about that much, and I think really
Mm-hmm.
goes under the radar. It's unrecognized, and the work being put in by the folks that really, like on our legislative committee and up the ladder, um, that's their life's work, and it is so impactful. It's impactful to anyone renting an apartment or any of us working in the industry, and it really deserves that recognition. So that is incredible.
Agreed.
So thank you so much for mentioning that. So it's Friday, and we've gotten through all the business stuff, and now we want to learn a little bit more about you personally. Hopefully, you can make your way to Cincinnati at some point, and we can chat about some of these things with you. So we'll start with the last book that you read, or your favorite book.
Oh, the last book that I read. Um, I'm currently reading this book called The First 90 Days, even though I've been in this job for more than 90 days. It's this book that I've reread or that I've read several times. Because it just talks about, things that you should focus on as a new employee.
Oh,
And so that's really been
check that out.
intriguing to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, ways to impact change, ways to ask your staff questions, ways to learn. And so one of the things that I think about 2020 is that it's kind of like provided us all something anew, right?
Yeah.
If you think about where we were last year to the time where we are today, pretty sure there's something different within your company, you're operating differently. And so, I'm thinking, hey, what are the questions I should be asking right now as we start to navigate some new strategies here at NAA. So that's what I'm reading right now.
Very cool. I'll have to check that out. I jotted it down. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so assuming reading is one of your hobbies, what else do you like to do?
Oh, well, so several things. One, I love fitness. And so I am a distance runner. So I run about 40 miles each week, believe it or not.
You did
So
it.
love to run. So love to run. And then, but the reason that I love to run, I love sweets. So I love to bake and I love to eat everything that I bake as well. So baking is also something that I really enjoy, and I run to kind of offset it.
That's fair. That's 40 miles is excessive, but okay.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then, like when I think back, those are things that I like doing, or I've always enjoyed running. I've always enjoyed baking, but I probably do a lot more of those in 2020.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me that last year, I would have said, I love to hop on a plane and go see new places. And so
Yeah.
traveling is a passion of mine. I've been very blessed to be able to see some really great places on this planet. And so I do miss that for sure.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, I think we all do. But I find that on all
Yeah.
of these interviews and just in general conversation, the silver linings that have come with 2020 are so interesting and fascinating because we are all operating so differently. And not all of it's bad. I think all of it, I mean, who's going to argue that like exercising more and baking and indulging a little more is
Uh-huh.
a bad thing? I mean, there's so many little silver lining details to this.
So funny that you should say that. I was talking to someone yesterday and I said, hey, you've got to think about the silver linings of all of this. And so one of those for me is I hate grocery shopping.
Yeah.
But now grocery shopping isn't all that bad. Like everyone goes the same direction down
Yeah.
one aisle. It's a bit more orderly. I kind of like it.
See, now that's funny because I love grocery shopping and I went so long without going into a grocery store that it was like kind of sad. And then I remember when I went back after being out for so long and I mean, I took a long time. I like slowly walked and read all the labels and it's so funny. I do have to mention, just because you said that you're a runner and we're here in Cincinnati, we have a really famous marathon here called the Flying Pig. So if you ever find
Hmm.
yourself in this part of the country, you should check it out because it's really cool. I think every city thinks that, but
No, yeah, Cincinnati has hills, right? It's pretty hilly in
yeah. I mean, you
Cincinnati.
should at least read up on
Those
it.
are the tough ones.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's it's like the standard 26 whatever, I don't know, but
Uh-huh.
but
26.2.
it covers so much ground and so many different landscapes. So I always watch it on TV and it looks really cool.
Uh-huh.
I've cheered some people on, so check it out sometime. And then you mentioned baking and sweets. Do you have a favorite that you like to make or a favorite that you like to eat?
Yeah, I found this recipe a few months ago for Biscoff, the cookies that they serve you
Yeah.
on the plane,
Uh-huh. They're so
for
good.
Biscoff brownies.
Ooh.
And so you basically, those cookies are the base, then it's like brownie on top. It's delicious, ton of
That is
calories, ton of grams of
genius.
fat, but you know what? You will
Mm,
not regret
yeah.
it.
See, I don't even know. I love those cookies and can you buy them in stores?
Yeah, they sell them at Target.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's sad for me to know because I think they're really good. And then also just the novelty of getting them on a flight, I think makes them taste even better.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yum. That sounds delicious though. And how about TV? Do you have any time to watch TV? Do you have any favorite shows?
Yeah, a few shows. So, my guilty obsession, which I will admit right off, like I love all reality TV. I mean, like
Yes.
from, the travel shows to some of the most trashy shows, I love all of them. It's just kind of funny to me to see, strangers come together and do whatever. So that's fun. Trying to think of something that I've been watching a lot lately. Um, oh, I just finished the last season of Schitt's Creek.
Really?
And if you've never watched Schitt's Creek, it's
Mhm.
absolutely an amazing show. So funny. It's Canadian. It is just so funny and such a lighthearted show and about family and, you
Mhm.
know, life giving you twists and turns. It's such a funny show. So I just finished that, and I'm actually very sad that I finished it because it was just such a great show.
It is all the rage. People, I mean, there is
Uh
a
huh.
cult following for that show. And I maybe I should revisit it because I have to admit, I don't have like an odd taste in humor. I feel like I like the same things that everyone else likes. Um, but I didn't make it through the first season. I gave up on it. So people have said that it gets better. You have to really get through
Second
that.
season.
Yeah, so maybe I'll revisit it because I mean, like I said, cult following, and I just
Uh
can't.
huh.
Like I tried, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I don't get it.
It's
But now, like
amazing.
everybody thinks it's funny, and I think my humor is pretty on par. So I'll give it another shot. I'll commit to that.
Please.
So, and then with the reality TV, it's funny that you mentioned that because I have this thought all the time because I too am a reality TV junkie, but I swear there's an element to it that's like, oh, it's so easy to watch because it's mindless and entertaining. But for people like us in our industry, the watching human behavior, like to our credit, like it's not like we're incapable of not watching complex things, but there's something intriguing, I think, to a lot of us about just watching a train wreck of a person and trying to figure out
Uh
why
huh.
they are the way that they are. So I always kind of make
So
it
funny.
myself like, sure, I indulge and it is mindless, but it is fascinating to a lot of personalities to just sit and kind of watch how humans interact in stressful situations together. And I think we all kind of imagine ourselves in certain scenarios and think, oh, I would never do that. So, but we all probably would. So
You never know.
you never know. How about sports? Do you have a favorite local
Yeah.
team
So,
or
since I'm not from the DC area,
I was going to ask
no,
you
I
that. I
don't,
didn't ask that at the top. So where are you from?
uh, I'm from Nashville.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a Titans fan. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm a Titans fan. Go Titans. Sorry for those of you who don't like the Titans. So like the Titans. But I love college football. And
Oh,
so
great. Were you excited about
I
tomorrow?
actually went. No.
Okay.
I actually have to miss all the games tomorrow. I have like a busy day, and so I have like no time to watch the games. But tomorrow, yeah, love college football. I went to Baylor for grad school,
Oh, okay.
and so I'm a huge Baylor fan. But I've just loved watching the rise of Clemson the last few years as well, and
Okay.
they're just an amazing team to watch. And I love that they've been number one the longest amount of time ever, I think, right by now. And so excited to watch them play always.
Very cool. I know nothing about Clemson, so
Oh, it's a great team.
very
And
cool.
then, since I'm talking to Cincinnati,
Yeah.
um, I actually love Ohio State as well. My sister went to Ohio State, and so I have a fondness for them as well.
Yeah. Lots of people here love Ohio State. They live and breathe
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'm not one of them, but lots of people do. So
Oh,
good for all of you Buckeye fans out there. The Big Ten comes back tomorrow, so I'm sure a lot of people are very pumped about that.
oh yeah,
So
that is true. They do come back tomorrow.
that's why I asked if you were excited about tomorrow because it's huge in the college
Oh, I
football.
thought I thought I thought you meant just like all the games. I forgot that they do come back. I forgot that they were delayed. Yes.
So I likely will not watch any of them, but maybe, I don't know. Well, also,
Sure,
I
your
don't,
friends will.
yeah, maybe I'll be somewhere where it's on or something. I don't know, but sports in Cincinnati is traditionally a painful tradition. So
Uh-huh.
it's always fun to talk to someone from out of town and hear a genuine, real optimism about sports. And then here's one of our fun questions. If you were an animal, what would you be and why?
Oh, wow. Um, I'd be like a whale or something,
Okay.
just think they get to cover so much of this planet. They can swim and like go on, and they live forever. For some reason, there are always these whale videos on my Facebook feed or something. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I continue to watch them or something.
Yeah, that's
But
exactly why.
that's probably why. Um, yeah, I just think they're really cool creatures. And I went years ago off the coast of Washington State. There are these islands called the San Juan Islands. I actually went kayaking with killer whales, with orcas, and it was just amazing to see. They're such social creatures, so they get pretty close to you on the kayak, and not aggressive at all. So yeah, I think I would be a whale or something. That
I
sounds
love
good.
that. That is the first time we've had that response. So I love that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Awesome. And then you mentioned that you loved to travel before 2020. Do you want to tell us about the best vacation you've ever been on? If it wasn't the one you just described?
Yeah. No, so there's this little small island off the coast, or Madagascar is an island itself, but there's this other island just not too far from there, about 90 miles, I think, uh, called Reunion Island. It's actually a part of France. And
Oh,
a few years ago, some friends and I went there, and there's an active volcano, of course, that hasn't erupted in years, but we actually climbed it. And it's more of a hike than a climb. But it was just amazing. You're literally above the clouds,
yeah.
on a volcano, and it's
That's
just
pretty cool.
amazing. So it was a really tough hike. I fell and cut myself really bad, but it
Right.
was amazing. So that's one of my favorite trips. And then you hike back, and then you just hang out at the beach the
Oh,
rest
that
of the
sounds
day. So it was
fun.
great.
So I've never heard of that. How did you hear about that?
So some good friends, they love to go on these random vacations, and so
Ah,
the agreement is if they do all the planning, I'll tag along. So
oh,
they do all the
you're on the good
work,
side
and
of that
I just show
agreement.
up.
Yeah, that's and are there any other interesting details that you want to share about yourself? You mentioned that you are a runner, and so, but you didn't
Uh-huh.
elaborate, and I think that's your interesting detail, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I've run 11 marathons. And after about maybe the fifth or sixth one, I said, "Hey, this is going to be my last because I want to beat last year's time."
Mhm.
And a few seconds is a long time in a marathon, and I just can't stop. It's kind of addictive, so I keep, sometimes I beat last year's time, sometimes I don't, but it's just very addictive, and I do all that training, and do all these I do all this running, and I don't listen to music while I run. It's complete silence. I just kind of like to
Really?
think and watch what people are doing around me. Yeah, yeah. So no music whatsoever.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
interesting. I just
yeah, yeah.
everybody listen to music when they're running long distances. My sister
No,
does, and I'm
just
pretty sure she
quiet.
makes like specific playlists. And then one of my good friends, not only does she listen to music, but I'm sure this is common in running. She plans her playlist for the course. You know what I mean? Like, if it's like an easier part, then it'll be some
Hmm.
lower key music. And then when she needs to get pumped up or she's nearing the end. So that's so interesting. It's all mental willpower with you. Good job.
Uh-huh.
That's
Love it.
incredible. And then this question, I will finish off. This is your last question. And I think this is a hard question, but it's also just really interesting to hear what people say. And it is, how would others describe you, in your opinion?
Oh, wow. That is a tough one.
It is.
I think, yeah, I think folks would say one, I'm outgoing, there's not a person that I think I've ever met that, that is a stranger for long. I like to get to know people, get to know their background, what they do, where they're from. That's that's very important to me just as a person, as I think how I was raised. Um, I think, folks would also say, even though I like to think that I'm outgoing, folks would say, I'm pretty, or folks that work with me at least would say, he's pretty tough, um, but, not, but like in a good way,
Good.
there's this saying, good, better, best, your, never let your good rest until your better is best or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so, and that's kind of something that I always think about. I'm always thinking about how can we do things better, or how can I be better at X, Y, or Z? How can my team be better at X, Y, or Z? And I always love to like just push and make sure that we're always at our best. And so
That
I
miracle
think
run is
that's
coming
one
in front of
way.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's one way folks would describe me as well.
Great. That was a great answer. Well, that's all the questions I have, unless there's anything else you want to share while you have the floor.
No, just thanks for this opportunity. It's been great. Congrats to you again. Wishing
You.
you all the best as you go start something new. That's exciting. So just thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, it was such a pleasure having you this Friday. And once more, guys, signing off for the last time on the Spotlight interviews. Thank you all so much for a million things. And we will be staying in touch. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks, Kevin. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.